And welcome to the September 23rd Transportation Policy Committee. I will turn it over now to Andy for a roll call.
Sir? Bullitt County, Judge Summers, Felicia Harper, or Keith Griffey is in the room. Anybody else from Bullitt County? Join us, Keith. Keith's on the screen if you can't see him. He's just off the screen, so yeah, there's his hand. City of Charlestown, Mayor Hodges. City of Jefferson, City of Jeffersonville. City of New Albany. City of Shively. City of St. Matthews. Clark County. Floyd County. From MnDOT. Jefferson League of Cities.
Here.
Chapman's in the room, if you all can see him on the screen. KYTC. Here. That was Thomas Witt for those in cyberspace. Louisville Metro.
Dirk going.
Dirk.
Mike King's here.
Hey, Mike. Thank you all for joining us. Anybody from the Airport Authority? How about Oldham County?
Jim Urban for Judge Vogel.
Jim? Town of Clarksville?
Kevin Beatty.
I see Mike out there too. How about from TARC?
Good afternoon, it's Carrie Butler.
Hi, Carrie. Thanks for joining us. Are there any advisory members from FHWA or otherwise? FAA, FHWA, FTA, KYTC District 5. I see Matt Bullock. Hi, Matt. Metro Planning Design or HUD? All right. We double check. Just barely have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, just going over a couple things. Those items that we will vote on, when you make your motion a second, if you could just please identify by name. When it comes to a vote, you can either raise your hand or say aye. We'll acknowledge both. So moving on in the agenda, item number 2 is acceptance of minutes from August 2021. Approved. I have a motion by Mayor Chapman, a second by Keith Griffey. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That item is approved. Item number 3, public comment period. Greg.
Okay. No public comments were received prior to the meeting, and I don't see anything in the chat.
Okay. Moving on, item 4, public involvement report. Also Greg.
All right. Pull that up real quick here. Share that for you.
While he's pulling that up, can everybody hear us out there? Can you all hear us speaking in the those of the, that are joining on Zoom?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
All right. Just give a monthly transportation outreach report for you all from August of 2021. As you can see from our website visits, they remain steady. From July on, we've been basically hanging right around those numbers here in the 170s, 120 range for the tip page, and MTP page around roughly around 58. We've dropped a little bit there, but mostly they've been holding steady. Social media also holding steady as well. We did have a little bit of a drop off from July, but we had an exceptional July, so that's not really much of a surprise. So as far as those numbers go, they still remain steady. As far as the averages go, they are remaining pretty well. We did receive 14 new pin drops comments added onto our public application map. 13 came of those from a California Neighborhood Day event that I will actually speak here in just a few seconds. But we do have 14 new maps, 14 new comments. Public outreach events, we did, as I mentioned, we participated at a California Day. That was actually a very big success. We were able to get a lot of good comments from the public, especially out of the West End. That's somewhere where we have been really pushing to try to get more comments from. And we were able to really get a lot of good stuff. I think all but one of those concerns or ideas that we got from the public came from the West End area. Planned events, we are planning to go to the Greater Friendship Baptist Church Community Day this weekend, as well as Louisville Earth Walk back in next October. We also have a plan to go to a Goodwill Fall Festival on Tuesday as well. Get to the comments. Biggest things that we heard from California Day, most of them were wheelchair ramps, potholes. You can see a lot of talk about maintenance issues that they have out in the West End. There was one person that mentioned they need more lights in front of PRP High School. Barstown Road, entire area, potholes, sidewalk repairs. People speaking a lot about stoplights, stop signs, different things like that. We did have one come out of the Linden area. They were wanting more bike lanes in that area so they can feel safe traveling to the malls. But a lot of it is just most maintenance thing. That's the biggest things we heard from there. So those are included in the report. If you all want to look at all those comments, you can. But that about wraps up for me. Unless you all have questions, I can take them.
All right, any questions for Greg? Moving on there, item number 5, Amendment 4 to the Connecting Kentuckiana.
Yes.
Nick, and thank you, Nick, for
thank you. I was planning on presenting remotely, but I don't think I had the link. At any rate, Amendment 4, let me take this off so everybody can hear me a little bit better. Amendment 4 is progressing as planned. We are currently in the public comment period. There's a 15-day federally required period where the public gets to comment. Next Tuesday, we're going to have our kind of open house, virtual open house, if you will, to be able to talk about those projects with the public. I don't believe we have any performance targets or anything like that, so it's just it's about 18 project changes, some new, some revised, some removals. And we had a successful air quality conformity analysis that was performed with the help of our friends over at APCD. And I can take any questions, but we are planning to bring Amendment 4 to this body next month for approval. Following that, we will forward the approval and all the entire packet with all the project listings, air quality documentation, and public comments to Federal Highways Kentucky. They typically take up to about 30 days for all of the responding agencies, TARC and both states, to provide comment or say they don't have comments. And so we should receive approval towards the end of November, which would allow all those projects, new and revised, to move forward with the obligation of funds. I can definitely take any comments or questions. Our Amendment 4 website is up with our map and all of the documentation that's required.
Thank you, Nick. Any questions? Not seeing or hearing any. Moving on then to item number 6, Kipta Transportation Annual Participation Report. Greg.
All right. All right, good afternoon again. As part of our public participation plan, we update the committee on the outreach efforts and the continued strategies. And by providing you a snapshot of our strategies, events, and other activities, we hope this kind of helps you stay informed and affords you the opportunity to offer any guidance and feedback. Typically, we do this annually, but kind of due with COVID, this report's kind of pushed back a little bit. So now the details from this are going to run from November of 2019 through this month. First off, we'll just go through our goals and objectives. They're pretty simple. To better serve the region, we must tap into the region in order to understand the issues the public faces when it comes to transportation concerns. We want to make ourselves available and be transparent in our planning process. So 3 of our goals: education, awareness, and collection of comments. We educate through the social media posts, our website, and presentation to the public, while at the same time, that kind of provides the awareness of who Kipta is and what services we provide on the transportation planning level. By providing the first 2, we kind of hope that leads to more engagement and more public comments. What this annual report will kind of show is our engagement efforts beyond the borders of Jefferson County and the reach we make to all of the MPO. It's important to remember what you're hearing today. You've already seen at some point, probably within the last time, either from my predecessor Ashley or myself now, but this just summarizes everything into a kind of a nice, neat little report. Committee access. First thing off will be in 2020, our committee meetings became virtual due to the pandemic. We found our participation increased with the digital option, and even though as we've transitioned here to a hybrid model and eventually we hope to kind of return to full in-person, we plan to continue to use Zoom for the public to have virtual access to our meetings. So if they cannot attend or they don't want to attend in person, they have that option to attend. We also continue to live stream the meetings through Zoom and YouTube, and plus a recording of the meetings are a part of the Kipta's YouTube library. So the public has continued access to get to those after the meetings are over. Throughout 2020 and early 2021, we worked on developing new and innovative ways to engage with the public since we couldn't get out to be with them. We took advantage of our memberships with our local chambers to participate in informational webinars to strengthen our social media and our electronic presentation skills. We're also able to learn some new social media strategies. So as you can see, we took part there at St. Matthew's Good Morning Networking events. We were also able to meet our local officials, kind of chat with them, hear what they had to say. And then you see the part Middletown and St. Matthew's also put on some, and one Southern Indiana put on some good ways to attract customers to our website, target ideal customers on social media. We had several updates. So one of those, which included our interactive comment map, which I mentioned in the public outreach report, that gives our users the ability to pinpoint exact transportation-related concerns, and we revamped our public participation page, where we house our public participation plan, our public comment opportunities, the interactive map, all the ways to engage with Kipta, and the public comment opportunities from our planning partners. So our public participation plan also was updated in late of 2019, and we're currently working on an update. We're hoping to have more next month at TPC on that. We're also asked to join the monthly committee group that the Louisville Health Advisory Board puts on. It's called the Community Coordination of Care. They represent groups from all parts of the community. Their mission is to improve physical, mental, and social well-being, so that's been a very positive group to be a part of, and we get to participate in that on monthly. Social media. That was a big thing that we tried to take on especially this year. It's become a tool that we use in our strategies for outreach. It's really how people interact and engage in today's world. So it gives us an opportunity to target advertising to key demographics and socioeconomic areas. And financially, it just gives us more bang for our buck when compared to like traditional methods like advertising in newspapers. We've really made a concerted effort to enhance our online presence, and that rise began in September of 2020. And as you can see, the numbers are up. Since September of 2020 compared to July of this year, engagement and impressions are up across Facebook and Twitter. Just a quick reminder, impressions are just eyeballs on the post. So that means we see those people see our posts in their feeds. That's up almost 60% on Facebook. And we're getting kind of like number-wise we were probably getting about 1,000 eyeballs on our feed last year at this time compared to over 2,000 back in July. And like I said, July was exceptional. That was probably our best month that we've had this year. Our average continues to be, our average for the past 3 months, about 1,600 impressions, which is really solid. That's what basically our goal is to kind of hold on to. Twitter's up 24%, and we've also started to use Instagram a lot more, and the numbers kind of reflect that at over a 50% increase in impressions. One of the outreach strategies is going to events, making ourselves available to the public, teach about Kipta, get feedback on transportation-related concerns and ideas. Obviously, in 2020, We couldn't do that because of the pandemic, so here in 2021, we began doing that a little bit more. We presented back in July to the Oldham County Chamber of Commerce. We also participated in California Day, as I mentioned. Back in August, we met with the Thrive Center back just beginning of this month. We have some other events planned that I spoke about in the outreach report. Next couple of slides here is going to cover our public comment opportunities throughout the last few years, last year and a half here. Accomplishments. Kipta wanted to ensure that we engaged with population that are underserved. And for our update to the MTP, we reached out to those groups in Title VI areas. So this is a list of the groups that we spoke to. You can see we spoke to like Center of Neighborhoods, Portland Now, Urban League, Youth Build, One West. We also spoke with Goodwill, Community Foundation of Southern Indiana, and the Rubbertown Community Advisory Council. The other public comment opportunities were amendments 1, 2, and 3 to the MTP and the 2025 TIP, plus the Coordinated Human Services Transportation Plan. Kipta was able to create new and innovative ways for the public to comment and engage, which included the creation of the interactive comment map that I mentioned. Project descriptions, a dedicated web page with each amendment that housed pertinent information and updates. We advertised in local newspapers, created a social media campaign. We also held 3 virtual public meetings for all of those. As you know, we began development on the active transportation plan. A public outreach strategy was launched in early summer of last year using social media and surveys to gauge the interest and the importance the public puts on multimodal transportation, along with to weigh in on current issues and future needs. We had over 500 survey responses, and we met with the Ohio River Recreational Trail Group to discuss the active transportation plan. April's TPC, we shared the results of our first outreach efforts of the MTP that began in February, relying solely on virtual strategies due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Survey was created to get feedback on what the public faced with day-to-day transportation issues with their commute. Email campaign that included stakeholders, interested groups, and organizations, along with legislators, went out to over 3,000 accounts. Kipta was able to meet virtually with over 30 community groups to help educate and get valuable feedback. And we also used an interactive map, I mentioned, received over 700 map pins and nearly 700 comments attached to them. Also taking advantage of social media, we spread the word to generate comments and survey responses through targeted paid ads on Facebook and organic strategies on Facebook and the rest of Kipta's social media platforms. Overall, the campaign was a huge success, 16,000 impressions, and currently there is an active web page that houses the updates, public outreach report, and more information on the MTP update as we continue along with that. Overall, we received over 700 comments throughout this time, 726 survey results, and some of the key things that we kind of took away with: maintaining current infrastructure. That was a big thing we heard about. Safety, more transit options, additional multimodal transportation options. So when we spoke to these groups, these were the key themes they kind of hit on. We kind of pulled out some of the comments we looked at. They were all roughly around these 4 points. That brings me to the end. Basically, as I said, this is a report for you all, so if you all have any feedback to give me on what you think we should be doing more of or where you do, I'm happy to take it. I'm also happy to take questions at this time. But basically, yes, that concludes my report at this point. I am seeking action to approve this annual report if there are no additional comments.
Any questions for Greg at this time? All right, this is an item that does require action. Need a motion and a second, if I could, please.
Carrie Butler, I'll make a motion to approve this public involvement update.
Dirk Goen, second.
All right, thank you. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That item is approved. Item number 7. Kentucky Indiana Transportation Excellent Award. Andy?
Thank you, sir. Got a slide or two here. It's that time of the year again where we try to seek out some greatness in the form of an innovative or just otherwise great project from our Kipta MPO region. So it's time to nominate projects for the 2021 Kite Award, that is. So if you, as TPC members, are interested in nominating a project, I think every year we probably have, a handful of projects, if so, somewhere around there on average, projects that get nominated. Now's the time. Greg, you want to fill them in on some of the details?
Yeah, absolutely. So nominations are going to be due by October the 15th, and they must be made using the official Kipta nomination form. You can actually find that on the TPC site on our website. The form's located there. You can download it and then fill it out there. Any project that it has to follow these criteria. Any project that was completed, open to the public, or had an active phase meets the three criteria listed, which is within the MPA, participated in the MPO process at Kipta, and has not won the Kite Award before. Committee members may nominate as many projects as they wish, and we will announce the winner at the November 23rd annual meeting. We're going to evaluate all the nominations, work with TPC chair to select the winning project.
I will send out an email also to the TTCC membership as well, so open it up to them, and then get the staff. We've nominated a project or two, but look for more details at next month's meeting. And then ultimately at the TPC meeting, as Greg said, in November, we'll do the awarding with the fancy trophy and all.
All right, thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Moving on, item number 8, Kipta Transportation Online Library. Greg?
All right, so maybe people may not know, but we have been working on updating our Kipta Transportation Online Library, basically taking studies from our planning partners as well as Kipta ourselves and housing them in one location so that members of just not TPC and TTCC, committee members, as well as the public, can have access to these at any time they need. Kipta Transportation, you can find that on our website. It is actually listed as the Kipta Transportation Online Library. We'll take you to this. As you can see, we have a lot of area studies in there, highway safety plans, corridor studies. We also have crash analysis and livability studies throughout. And like I said, they concern all the communities from Bullitt, Clark, Jefferson, Floyd, Oldham. We have some TARC studies in there. If anyone on the committee has any studies that you want to add to this, feel free to email them to myself. I will get those on there at any time. We are going to be kind of live updates. This will be kind of a living document as we'll continue to update these as we get more studies and we find those from our planning partners. But just wanted you all to be aware of those. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me or you can ask me right now. But I'm available.
All right, thank you, Greg. As he stated, you can just send those to you?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
you just email those to me if there's any projects you want to add to that list.
Okay, sounds good. Moving on, item number 9, the KYTC Shift 2022 process. Andy?
Thank you, sir. You guys have heard me talk about Shift a lot over the last several months. This should be the last time. Today's the day where we will be asking the TPC to approve the list of Project Boost for the KYTC Shift process. The slides up here. There should be a PowerPoint slide.
Oh.
Share mine for you too.
Yeah, let's say I don't see it listed. PowerPoint.
Hang with us. All right, can everybody see the screen? See the screen out there on Zoom?
I see some heads nodding, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. just a reminder on the schedule. This is kind of where we are. We're on the tail end of it now. There was an early round of this back in the springtime where the first cut was made. That is in the form of what they called the project sponsorships. So in our region, I believe there's 49 projects that got sponsored by you guys, Kipta TPC. That went along with a bunch of projects that the Transportation Cabinet had sponsored and a couple extra projects that KYTC considered to be committed. So it was, let's say, a little bit over 100 projects in the MPO area. That's the first cut. Those projects got verified and scored. And then this summer, kind of round two, the deeper cut is the boosting process. That is the highway district offices around the state from KYTC, the area development districts around the state, and the MPOs around the state have the opportunity to boost projects after the projects get scored, to add additional points to the score. And that process here at Kipta, in the MPO region at Kipta, was at a TTC working group that was held just a few weeks ago on September 8th, and here we are on the 23rd requesting action, all with the end goal in mind, by the way, toward KYTC's draft recommended highway plan. They will take our action today. Once we boost them, I'm told we're the last ones in, so we're saving the best for last. Got an email just this morning saying that they're waiting for Kipta MPO. We'll get them in this afternoon. They're due tomorrow, so we'll be on time. So we're in good shape, don't worry. And again, the highway plan is the final goal for these targets. That's yet one more cut, right? First cut was this sponsorships. Second cut is the projects that get boosted. Third cut, does it make the highway plan? So just a reminder, what's a boost? A boost is the ability to give bonus points to a project based on local priorities, okay? So we, as the Kipta MPO, was allocated 21 boosts. So for 21 projects, Kipta TPC has the opportunity to boost and give 15 additional points. 15 additional points to 21 projects. We cannot split the 15 points several ways. We just have to give it to 21 projects. Down at the bottom, it says only regional projects are eligible. What that means is that after that first cut, when projects got sponsored, there's 100 projects, as I said a minute ago, about 100 projects. Projects on interstates and a few others, but mainly the interstate projects, those were called statewide, projects of statewide significance. Those got scored on a slightly different scoring scale, and also those are not eligible for MPOs, highway district offices, or area development districts to boost. So we select from the subset. That subset came down to, I believe the number was 79 that the TPCC working group considered. Here it is, 79 projects. Keith Griffey's here in the room, folks, and Keith was the chair of the TTCC working group. I'll let you, Keith, if you want to say some words about how we went through that process. I'd be happy to hear it.
Yeah, it was really good. As a matter of fact, the working group, that took the place of the regular monthly meeting. And I thought it was a really good exercise. Maybe do more of that. Andy and Nick came up with a type of scoring that they put together before, kind of showing each of the projects, kind of put them into different categories, made it a whole lot easier for the group. I think every project had a champion there. Some things that were boosted before didn't get boosted based on what the sponsors wanted to do. A lot of good conversation. I thought it was a great way to do this. I was real pleased with it, of course. High on the list, that kind of speaks for itself. But I do want to really thank Andy and Nick and Greg for all the work that they did on this. They really made it a lot easier. They cut through the weeds for us, I think. So you all did an outstanding job. And again, I couldn't be more pleased with the process.
Thank you for saying that. As Keith mentioned, there were some of the things on the screen right now were what were prioritized. You know, the idea that projects might need to be turbo boosted, as KYTC calls it. That is to boost the same projects that KYTC boosted, either in solidarity or more directly, so that they can achieve the highest score that's possible. We looked at things like the project status. How far along is the project? So that's valuable information if a project is further along. probably should be considered for boosting. What was the score and shift? Also, what was the score through our MTP process? So 2 different scoring systems. And then just local priorities, those were involved too. So we had some local selections that maybe didn't score that highly through the shift score, but local government thought they needed a boost. So the end result was 21 projects, as I said. 16 of those were turbo boosted. That is, the Kipta TTCC working group agreed to boost 16 projects that KYTC also boosted. 6 of those projects were in Bullock County, 11 in Jefferson, 4 in Odom. So I've got them listed, just to go over them briefly, and we can take it however you want to take it from here, Kevin. I've got 3 more slides just showing which projects were boosted in each county. So in Bullock County, there's a heavy emphasis, as there has been for many years, on Kentucky 44. Kentucky 44, Kentucky 44, Kentucky 44. There are 4 Kentucky, one more. So, so 3 of them are in the section that was a part of a giant project that stretched from Shepherdsville to Mount Washington, those first 3 projects. That project, that 6th project there is east of Mount Washington, in Mount Washington, but just east of 31E there. There's, beyond 44, there's a project to improve the Kentucky 480 interchange. And then one more project on Kentucky 245. That's the road that goes between I-65 and Bardstown, and then Bernheim Forest is a mile or so east of I-65. So the Bullock County project's proposed to be boosted. Odom County, similar type projects perhaps. A couple projects out there in LaGrange. One was to the interchange, exit 22 interchange itself. Improvements to the interchange itself, and then Kentucky 53 just south of the interchange, a widening project there, I-71 to south of I-71 at the road called Jale Smith Road. The Kentucky 393 reconstruction project that is in progress right now. To continue that 393 reconstruction to north of where it currently ends. This is north of I-71 now. Then the 4th one was the proposed new interchange that would be, I've heard it called exit 20 before, but it'd be a new interchange between 393 and Kentucky 53. So it would connect to some of the, it'd be right there at the Allen Lane overpass, LaGrange Parkway, Ring Road. I've heard it all different roads over the years, but just south of the existing exit 22 interchange. Jefferson County, a wide variety of types of projects were proposed to be boosted in Jefferson County, some of which have been in our MTP for many years, including that very top one, Greenwood Road. So that's an example of a project that a lot of work's been done thus far, trying to get that project to the finish line. A couple projects out on Taylorsville Road, one east of Gene Snyder, from Gene Snyder out to Kentucky 148. And then within that section, a project was boosted, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, about the 6th one down, Taylorsville Road, South Pope Lick Road intersection improvements. That intersection is in the longer section, but that intersection is a high priority. A couple other projects of note, New Cut Road. That project, part of it at least, would be to consider road right sizing, I believe is the term we're using now, road right sizing there for a portion of it, and then some other bike ped improvements to that roadway in South End. Project out in Eastwood on Shelbyville Road. This would add a third lane to a portion of Shelbyville Road in Eastwood at the east end of Jefferson County. There's a project in there, an ITS type project that would involve signal upgrade and signal communication upgrades, as far as is my understanding, on several roadways that are listed or called premium transit corridors. So Metro would really wants to see this project come to fruition there. But that other one, there's a pair of Bardstown Road safety improvements that were considered. The southern section of the 2 projects, there's 2 projects that were among the 79 that got sponsored, or the one that made it to the regional list. One of those was recommended for boosting. A third lane to Waterston Trail out here in J-Town, the Cabinet recently broke up a longer widening project into 2 parts. This part was favored by both the Transportation Cabinet and by the working group. That is to widen it to get a center turn lane from Bluegrass Parkway to Blankenbaker Parkway. This is the stretch that goes under I-64. Some Crumbs Lane improvements over in Shively. The Old Henry Road extension, that's been a project for quite some time as well. This project would extend Old Henry Road in extreme northeast Jefferson County out into Oldham County to Ash Avenue. And so that would be an extension project that would, like I said, get out to Oldham County. There's one other project on here, that is the Kipta Area Development District, the RTC, Regional Transportation Council. They boosted a series of projects as well. I failed to mention this earlier. One of those was to Kentucky 155 in extreme southeast Jefferson County. So it's kind of like we got a bonus boost out of that one. That is that there was a project that spanned Spencer and Jefferson County. So we could have an additional one here. And last but not least is the Reimagined 9th Street project. That's 9th Street downtown, connecting to Broadway to the I-64 interchange. That's all I have as a presentation. The TTCC working group did recommend this set of projects, these 21 projects for this body's approval, but it is that this body, the policy committee can make changes to that list of projects if we need to. We have the spreadsheets ready if we need to, but again, the working group did recommend this group of projects to the TPC.
All right, thank you, Andy. Based upon the recommendations, is there any discussion of the group?
Yeah, this is Dirk. We've got, we did keep away from interstate highway projects, but we ended up with 3 interchange projects. And I'm wondering, and 2 of those are committed. And Andy, can you explain what a committed project is?
So the committed projects were projects that KYT, as I understand it, KYTC Central Office had established, let's say in the springtime, earlier this year, early in the SHIFT process, that is, and it meant something different than it meant in past iterations of SHIFT. Previously committed meant the project is far enough along, doesn't need to be considered anymore. This time, it's my understanding, and KYTC staff can chime in as they, if they can, but the committed project basically was an automatic pass to pass the first cut. It didn't need to be sponsored, but we received guidance, and I believe the district offices did as well, that while it didn't need to be sponsored, it was on a level playing field with the rest of the projects for this boost process. So we should not consider it a project that's a done deal in terms of getting in the highway plan. If anybody from the Transportation Cabinet wants to chime in, I'd be happy to. I hope I didn't butcher that too much.
This is Tom Hall with District 5. You explained it perfectly, Andy. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Dirk, did that answer your question about that at least?
I guess my thought is that I think that we've got a lot of needs in Jefferson County. I feel like we kind of got a little short end of the draw here, but that's probably not always true. So it all balances out. My thought was to the larger interchange projects. The Kentucky 480 in Bullitt County is approaching $10 million. The I-71 interchange in LaGrange is estimated 19.4 million. I was thinking that I guess I think of surface transportation block grants is what Kipta is about, and thinking about more streets. I'd like consideration to replace those 2 with one of them being the 3-lane widening along Kentucky 1931 from the Dawes High School entrance to Platka Road. It was also boosted by the district. And there's one out here that it's relatively small, but I know, and maybe Tom can explain a little bit more about this project, but reconstruct Kentucky 22 at Spring Crest Drive. I know we had an emergency culvert replacement there, and now I see this project. And when that culvert went out, the getting people around, that detour around that closure was very costly to our community. I'd like that one to get a boost, because I don't know that it scored that well without it.
This is Carrie Butler. Do we need to, if we want to make a change, do we need to make some kind of a motion and then discuss it? Is that, or just we can change it?
Deferring to Kevin, but I believe that would be correct. Yeah, we have the TTCC did recommend those 21 projects, and so we'd be taken from somebody to give to somebody else is what that would result in. So it probably would need to be in the form of some sort of motion on that regard. And so I'd like to let others vouch for those projects.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we hear from everybody who has comments, and then once comments are done, then we'll look for motions to make changes, and then if those changes are approved, then we'll come back and adopt the full amended document as the last item. All right, any other comments?
Yeah, I've got one. 480 interchange. And I understand what Dirk's saying. Coming from Bullitt County, we've been shortchanged forever. I'm not going to take anything away. I also think that the work that the committee put in and the people that spoke up and how we went through that process, I think it should stand the way we.
Any other comments?
I've got a comment if I can, Mr. Chairman. Likewise, to that comment, I couldn't quite hear everything, but as I understand, I mean, there was a working group, there was a TTCC. This is the first I've heard of these potential changes, and this is critical timing in terms of adopting this today because they're waiting for us to do this. We heard Andy mention. So I haven't heard evidence really or anything why we should make this shift at this time and or change these recommendations. And I want to make sure of one thing though, there aren't additional shift projects available. In other words, the TTCC recommended, I think we only had 21 projects that we could boost, and we did that. So I concur that we should leave it as it stands.
That's correct. There's no extra room for another.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
This is Carrie Butler. I wanted to make a comment. I am pleased to see that at least a portion of the projects in Jefferson County and maybe a handful of the Bullitt and Oldham County projects, I didn't quite see the full project descriptions, but I was pleased to see that some of the projects being boosted for Jefferson County included other types of improvements, meaning there was some sidewalks, maybe a bike lane in there, the premium transit corridor project. So I was pleased to see that. And I feel like this is a good, maybe a good baby step in the right direction. And I say that based on what we heard in the earlier presentations on public comment and public involvement. So I don't have any objection to the boosting or the I guess the projects as they've been boosted. I sort of I understand Dirk Goen's point, and I don't disagree with it at all. But I just really want to encourage, this committee and the Kipta staff as they work with the TTCC and other committees, that I think it's really important that if we're going to do public involvement and we're going to hear from members of our community, that we take their concerns and we try to apply them into actual projects. And what we see and what we hear are people want other ways to get around than just the car. They want sidewalks that are meaningful transport, that can help them get around meaningfully. They want, the ability to travel by bike. They want different types of transportation improvements than maybe what this specific set of projects represents in its dollar amount, and sort of the path. So I don't have any objection. I don't have any deep objection to these projects, but I really just wanted to make that point that I think it is important that this committee and Kipta and all the people involved, because I know we all work in different counties, different regions, and different different capacities, but that we really take those public comments to heart and think about what people are saying when they say we want to be able to get around differently and apply those to tangible outcomes. So thank you.
Kevin, is it okay if I respond to that?
Sure.
Yeah, not necessarily a direct response to Carrie, but maybe this can help ease some minds. Couple things. Those descriptions I had on the screen, that was things I could fit in one line on there. So the actual descriptions as they are written in both the Kipta MTP and in the KYTC databases and what have you, there's more to it than those 6 words that I had up there in many cases. So there's probably additional facets to some of those projects. Also, this process, the SHIFT process, feeds the highway plan. What it doesn't feed is our SLO funds or any other funds that are, those funding decisions are made at this table here at Kipta. So to the extent that different types of funds, this is to get projects in the highway plan, as opposed to the TPC, the SLO dollars, or the STBG, MPO dollars, as you hear Nick talking about them these days, or our TAP funds, or any other funds that may come to this table. This is for highway plan focused dollars right here. For better or worse, doesn't make it right or wrong, and doesn't mean we should not be sympathetic to some of those things that Carrie and Dirk have described. So I hope that helps.
Well, then I guess I should say we are appreciative that the highway plan is willing to consider pedestrian and other transit, other modes, but maybe, so like I said, a step in the right direction. So thank you for that background too. And I think that's important to know that there are multiple sets of funding that are applied differently for different reasons. So appreciate that background.
And Kipta has had that dialogue with the cabinet in the prior iterations of SHIFT, and we will continue to do just that. That is to say things like, can it be possible for future iterations of SHIFT to value the transit facets of projects, the bike and ped facets of projects, because that it showed in our working group meeting the differences in scores. That is, the scores that were generated through our long-range planning efforts valued certain things, and the scoring system is set up in a certain way that matches the goals and objectives in our performance measures here at Kipta, while the scoring system for SHIFT, it's not completely unaligned, misaligned, but it's different, and it's different. That's just fact. That's just a fact. So might those things be more aligned in the next iteration of SHIFT? We have been given assurances that they are trying. They're trying to make, for instance, bike and ped, give more points to a bike and ped project, to put it bluntly.
Okay, any other comments? All right, is there anybody who would like to make a motion to make changes to the recommendations?
I'll make a motion for changes.
And what are those, Dirk, please?
That we would remove the 2 committed interchange projects, and that we would replace with the Kentucky 1931 project from Dawes High School to Palatka Road, and can reconstruct Kentucky 22 at Springcrest Drive.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second on that item? Last call for a second on that item. Not hearing a second, the motion dies. Is there any other recommendations, changes?
Chairman Jim Urban. I'd make a motion to approve the shift projects as recommended by the TTCC.
Second. We have a motion and a second to accept the boost recommendations from the committee. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That item is approved. Thank you for the discussion. I know sometimes not everybody gets what they would prefer, what they would like, but there are a lot of projects on there, 21. So there's always an opportunity to for changes next year, or projects get boosted next year. So we'll continue to move forward with the items and get those submitted to the cabinet today or tomorrow. So
That's correct. Thank you.
all right. Next item moving forward on the agenda is item number 10. Fiscal year 2020 through 2025 Transportation Improvement Program. Nick's back again.
I'm back. Administrative modification 20. This is a very light modification. I think we have 5 projects. Again, these are minor changes to the TIP, meaning they're either revising funding or minor details of existing projects, or adding projects that fit the definition of our group projects. There's several different categories of group projects, and those are things that not require a project to go through the amendment process. So first project is in Clark County, County Road 403 and Stacy Road. They're proposing a roundabout there. They're actually reducing some funding needs. So there's a little bit of funding that's coming back into our fiscal year 2022 MPO dedicated pot for our Indiana project sponsors. And then the other changes are all from NDOT. There's 3 revisions as well as 1 new project. And I can address any of the projects if you have comments or questions. Otherwise, this is just for information only and no action is required.
Any questions for Nick? All right, as no action is required, thank you, Nick, for that. Coming down the home stretch of the agenda, item number 11, other business. I do not believe there's any other business to come before the committee.
One thing, Kevin, if that's okay.
Sure.
For those that aren't in the room, I want to introduce you to our 2 newest MPO transportation planners, Valerie Moore and Spencer Williams. They're in the room with us. I don't know if, yeah, Spencer's on there. Valerie, you probably can't see her. She's sitting near Spencer. But they were hired at the end of August. I think they started the last day of August, last day or 2 of August. They both come to us with some very relevant GIS experience from, they actually came from the same company. They worked for the same company before they came to Kipta. We've got them so far working on some environmental justice type activities, as well as some of the socioeconomic data that you heard myself and a colleague of mine and Lori Kelsey in yesteryear update. They will be helping us with updating that. It's a big job, and we'll be doing that over the next several months as we build on our long-range plan update activities. So I'd like to welcome them, and I hope someday you all can be back in the room and you can have a chance to shake hands and introduce yourselves to both Valerie and to Spencer.
Well, welcome, Valerie and Spencer. Anything you would like to say?
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yep. Nice to meet you all. Happy to be here too. Excited.
Well, you get 3 opportunities. One is to make comments. One is presentation like the staff do. One is when you become an employee, and then the third one is when you're leaving. So, consider this your first one. So we hope you're here for a long time. Welcome.
We do.
All right. Any other items to come before the board? Hearing nothing, I will just adjourn the meeting at 1:26. We'll call it adjourned. For those of you who will be rejoining us at 2, see you then. Thank you.